Hi, Timothy. How you doing? Okay, so I've got your work up now. The pages, the page setup is so much better. We can see the work now, and there's just no more distractions, which really allows us to concentrate on the work. And I think agreeably that is the most important thing in your portfolio, is showing your work, right? So let's start with the. I'm wondering about the front cover. I'm wondering where you're going to go take that direction, but you definitely need one, so keep that in mind. I think right now that based on the page mechanics, I think this collateral design right here, this type treatment is really, it's super bold. It's the darkest and boldest thing on the page, which means it's on most pages, I should say. Of course, it's not here, but nonetheless, on a lot of pages, it's the darkest and boldest thing, which means that the eye goes right there, which is okay, but the problem before was that we had this multiple eye stops, right? You had the other type over here, which means the viewer who comes in, looks here, then has to look over here for the actual type. So this, I think, is kind of doing the same thing, only because this is such a heavy, blocky, bulky typeface. I would consider reducing the typeface size on that, the type size on that, and you know, boy, I'll tell you what, I wouldn't mind even seeing it just right above there, just to eliminate the number of visual stops, so that the viewer can just go straight to the text area without having to go to the title, then over to the text area. See what I'm saying? Okay, let's go to the first page, because I want to talk a little bit about branding. So my question is this: I'm still really lost as to what is your brand? What are you trying to brand here, Timothy? We've got so many different things here going on. All right, let me give you an example. Right here, we have this Quicksilver Intelligent Design, Timothy Pins. Okay, over here we have Quicksilver, but it's a different logo. This one is presented with this type on the side. All right, the same as it's presented over here. So we're definitely getting some inconsistencies here that are creating, I think, some pretty severe confusion. These are the same, this is different. Conversely, this is different than this. This is in a bolder typeface. All right, so I'm not real sure if you're trying to brand Quicksilver Design or Timothy Pins. And I remember saying this from way back in week 2. And I think that this is a really serious consideration right now, because as a viewer, and I'm familiar with what's going on. So as somebody who was not familiar, I'm afraid that this is sending some mixed signals, creating confusion. From the get, I recommend students brand themselves and try not to brand some sort of other entity in conjunction with themselves. And I think this is a good example of why. As far as the branding itself goes, okay, the branding, where is the branding? Okay, this is your branding suite right here. However, there's nothing here that's translating to your background pages to reinforce that branding. Did you see what I'm saying? In a perfect world, I would say you take your logo, whichever it may be, and I would take the color of the logo and the type of the typeface, and I would use that for my subheads. Now you're drawing a connection between your business card, your letterhead, your envelope, and your portfolio pages, thereby solidifying and reinforcing the branding. Okay? So again, I've got some really questionable areas as to what is your branding. Is this your branding here, this little pink here, and that pink swoosh? Okay, it seems like you're using that on all your pieces, but then you've got these other assorted design elements. So it's confusing to me. Finally, I don't recommend using a drop shadow. If you do use a drop shadow, don't use default settings. Really try to lighten that thing up considerably. I prefer a 1 pixel black stroke around the card. That way it's separating it from the background, showing where the edges of the document are without drawing this kind of separation from the background that the actual shadow does. Also, I think that the bottom of your page here is too close to your type. We've got staggering areas. Now, I know I mentioned this a few times, but you got to get this area down and keep it down the whole time, okay? there, right there, you have defined the distance between your type and where your images start. Down here, okay, let me put my cursor here. Remember that trick? Let me put my cursor there. Okay, down here, looks like that's consistent, but that has to be there, although this should be all the way to the right. If you can see, there's your right margin, that right margin. This can be considerably enlarged to fill that area. And then, okay, so watch how it's jumping around. See, there's that. Then it jumps down there. That's pretty consistent. Good job, good job. And then it jumps down further there. Okay, so just watch that. Really try to set up an area and stick with it. Okay, let's take a look through the work. This is a book cover. I highly recommend. Design a spine where you have the horizontal version of the title and the author. Design a spine. Design a back cover. And also, a lot of times you design a dust flap too, and that really, really makes the book cover look and act just like a book cover. This is good. These look good. Again, here, look at this right margin here, and then look at this. I'm sorry, left margin, right margin's much, much bigger. And we're seeing that phenomenon going on, I think, in a couple of different areas. That one, this right margin is definitely larger than that left margin. Okay, we're seeing it here. So watch those margins. Okay, look at that. And I know you're not trying, I know that you're not trying to symmetrically place these center, but I do think that you could probably improve the use of your grid a little bit. Okay, a couple of other things here. Okay, so for example, your grid now, you could do this. You could come in here and show the whole cover. Then you could show the back cover. Okay, then you could take a little snippet here and show that here. Then a close-up of your typography, show it there, and then maybe a close-up of one of those, show it there. You see what I mean? So you're filling out this whole grid, making it a more interesting visual presentation than just showing front cover, back cover. Do you see what I'm saying? Plus, you're employing this mathematical use of the grid, which indicates some nice page harmony. You've got a frame around this page, which is, it looks like it's cutting your text off right there. Okay. Lorem Ipsum, do not recommend using placeholder text in a portfolio. Highly recommend filling that in with live type. Doesn't matter what it says. Nobody's going to read it in your portfolio, but it should definitely hold live type. This right here looks like you should probably take that column of type right there and align it with the first column. Looks good. Okay, good stuff. Again, this piece, here's your website, 4 pages deep. You got these are sub pages. This isn't another digital media piece. I mentioned that last time. Okay, everything else looks great, but you have this last thing called image manipulation. Is that, I don't recall image manipulation being one of the subcategories. So try to fit that in one of the subcategories of your portfolio. If you can't, then definitely put it in with electives. All right. Other than that, I think you're really well on your way. So I would like to see watch this move when I type. This needs to be on a master page. Watch this whole text block move. Watch. See it? There it goes. Boop. See it jump down? And then it stays there for the rest of the presentation. Let's do that again, though. See there, it's just jumping around again. That has got to stay. Here, watch this type right here. See it jumping around? There it goes again. So watch that. Okay, there you have it. 10 minutes. Sorry about that. But anyways, you're working hard, so I thought I'd work hard for you. All right, very good. Any questions, comments, concerns, please feel free to holler at me. All right, thank you very much. Nice work.